cognitive errors. Everyone makes them every day, all the time. There's filtering, and this is when we're stressed, we're in a situation, and we're filtering out all of the good and just focusing in on the bad. The next one is personalizing. This is when you make everything about yourself, but it's in a negative way usually. Oh, this always happens to me. Everything bad happens to me. Overgeneralizing. And this is when we take one piece of data and we make it a universal truth. Catastrophizing. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. This is what they mean. You're taking one thing and you're making it into a very, very, very big thing. All or nothing. This is essentially black and white thinking. If I don't do that thing perfectly, I'm not going to do it at all. Shoulding all over yourself. Saying things like, oh, I should have done that better. I should have finished that. I should have said this to them. Should. Shoulding all over yourself. Control fallacies. This is when you have a very distorted view of how much control you have or something else has in a situation. So if you feel maybe helpless in a situation that really maybe you could actually do something about, but you just feel, I can't do anything about it. It's out of my control. This one is one of my personal favorites. Mind reading. So mind reading is when you assume people's thoughts. I know that they hate me. I know exactly what they're going to say when I bring this up. I mean, yes, we might think we have somebody's patterns down pat, but sometimes mind reading can really be problematic. Probably all the time. The next one I'm going to talk about is called martyr syndrome. Oh, we throw ourselves at the situation without giving ourselves accountability for our own boundaries or for what we can and can't control. Mistaking feelings for facts. I feel like they hate me, so they must hate me. I feel like they're ignoring me, so they must be ignoring me. I feel out of control, so I must be out of control. Cognitive errors that every person in the world with a brain does all the time, every day. But when we're in a heightened sense of stress, or we're in fight or flight, as they say, these can get worse, and we can believe them more than if we were in a state of regulation. So what do you do about them? Don't worry. I got you. So how do you help yourself to have maybe a little less of these? And also, you're really never going to get rid of these, okay? Especially sometimes you can't even catch your first thought. What we're going to do, it's called catch and correct. So when we're having cognitive errors, especially when we're feeling really stressed, we can catch, which means catching those thoughts and correcting them. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do that. Filtering. Taking out all of the good stuff and we're just focusing on the bad stuff of the situation. When we realize that's what we're doing, we can catch it. A different way we can correct it, though, collect more data. Maybe you had a really good time at an event, but the last half hour, it was just really bad. And so when you go home and someone says, how was the event? You're more likely maybe to filter out all those good things before them, even if it was the majority of the time. But what you can say is, let me think about how I had good and bad at this event. The bad thing, which I think is really just taking over the entire event for me, is maybe I broke a souvenir I just got, broken gift. But then I look back and I say, well, I ate some amazing food. I had a super fun time with my kids on all the rides. Maybe I got to see a funny show. The more you put the good things back into the story, you realize that maybe you did filter out all this. And you can kind of think about that and help yourself to persevere. Personalizing, and that's when we make everything about us, but usually in a really negative way. I wave at somebody and they don't wave back. And instead of thinking, oh, they didn't see me, maybe I think they hate me. Personalizing. So a few ways we can catch and correct. Get back out there. No matter what happened that you think is all about you in the worst way, you need to get back in that situation and try it again. You can also say, so what? Gosh, they hate me. So what? May or may not be applicable. I saw them, I waved, they didn't wave back. I think they hate me. Catching myself. No, that sounds like I'm personalizing this situation. Maybe they're just in their head and thinking about something. Maybe they didn't see me. Maybe I'm wearing my hair different and I forgot and they didn't even recognize me. There is a chance that, yeah, they hate you, but more likely they don't, and there's other things that are happening. When we're taking one piece of data and making it a universal truth. A way we can overcome this one is by first collecting more data. Also, by having a beginner's mindset. It will allow us to collect more data more efficiently and also to bend if we need to bend. Or you collect more data and you were right. Again, that beginner's mindset will only help you to further collect data that's backing your point. All or nothing. This is what people call black and white thinking. This is when we take this absolute truth or this absolute truth with nowhere in between to be seen. So the first thing we can do to catch and correct this one is to avoid rigid labels. In order to remain flexible in our thinking, think clearly, we need to avoid using rigid labels. Next, look for the gray. Even if you only see two distinct sides of something that seem like they couldn't be more opposite, still look for the gray. More often than not, you will find that this is not true. It is definitely a cognitive error. Good way to get yourself out of the all or nothing mindset, I'm either going to do everything I want to do or I'm going to do nothing, is instead of doing everything based off of output, I'm going to get 6 things done today, whether I like it or not. I'm going to spend all my time doing those 6 things because they have to be done. Or I can say, I'm going to spend 4 hours on these things. And when that's done, it's going to be good enough. You've heard of the suds. Well, this is the shoulds. And people should all over themselves all the time. I should have been better. I should have done this. I should have done that. Some things that you can do to catch and correct this one. It is what it is. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Just let it be what it is. Another thing you can do, focus on what you can change. Okay, should or should not. What can you do? Accept what you can't change. If you're going to waste all your energy shitting all over yourself about what you can't change, you're wasting your own time. You might look a little silly. Focus on what you can change and not what you can't. Turn but into and. I want to go to the farmer's market, but I feel so bad. I want to go to the farmer's market and I feel so bad. Both things are true at the same time. Control fallacies. You don't feel like you have any control. Maybe you feel like you have all the control. Either way, So this is what we call focus on what you can change. And figure out what you can't change. And then accept it. Spend your time here and not here. And this will be a lot easier. You'll feel like you have a lot more autonomy and control in your life. You won't allow yourself to miss opportunities because of this thinking. Mind reading. We all wish we could, but no one can. Sorry. Here, one way you can catch and correct when you think that you know what someone's thinking, use assertive communication. I think that they hate me. Do you hate me? Maybe you won't ask like that. Maybe you say, hey, is there anything going on between us that I should know about? I just feel a little weird. I'm not sure if it's you or me. Assertive communication helps you get your wants and needs met. I think they hate me, but maybe they were in a bad mood today and they just didn't have the energy to wave and be their happy-go-lucky self. Maybe they have something going on that I have nothing to do with. And so that's why they didn't wave back when I waved. Practice storytelling and you'll find that you probably cannot read a mind. I feel like I'm gonna die. Probably you won't though. Probably just have a bad cold, or maybe you're just having a really bad day. Everyone hates me. Do you need a nap? Did you eat today? One way to catch and correct is not to put too much stock in all of our feelings. And I know this does not mean feelings don't matter. But when we put all of our stock in our feelings, and our feelings are driving the bus of life, they come up with this because our feelings are from the same brain that has what? Cognitive errors. So again, find the data, find the facts. Feelings matter and they absolutely impact your life, which is another reason you need to find the facts. You probably know what a martyr is, but put martyr syndrome in cognitive error in this context. It's clearly not the same thing. We're not talking about that type of martyrdom. We are talking about being willing to suffer for a cause outside of ourselves. So 2 big things with this one. Number 1 is stay in your lane. And to go with that, you got to give people the dignity to grow and learn. If we do everything for someone, if we give up everything, we suffer in the name of a cause, but we take away people's dignity, say we think we're an advocate for a cause, but we've become so martyred for that cause that now we're not in our lane anymore, which is harmful to the cause. Now we're taking people's dignity because we're not allowing them to grow and learn in or out of that community or for or not for that cause. So it's really important when we're feeling this willingness to just suffer over something outside of ourselves. Just remember that that's most likely a cognitive error, and that you need to stay in your lane and give people the chance to do things on their own, to fall and even fail on their own, because that's how people grow and that's how they learn. I find all of this to be very helpful to understand that everybody does this, okay? Having a cognitive error in any situation, especially when you're stressed, is a completely normal human thing. It is a side effect of having a brain that can create thoughts and stories. And sometimes those stories are not true. A lot of times, every day, our brain is telling us stories that's not true. So it's really important that we pause, we try to catch, and we try to correct those in order to have better communication. And honestly, taking a step back and understanding what's happening in your brain, it really is very calming in my experience. If you have any questions that I can answer, let me know.